Yeah, let's get into the play calling there, Baldy. Drew Petzing, obviously in his bag as well, and you had a 100-yard day on the ground from James Conner. Could have had 2 rushing touchdowns at one point. Kyler, the perfect passer rating. You talk about just the infrastructure from a play calling standpoint, 12, 13 personnel, and how that makes a guy like Kyler Murray so dangerous.
Well, you see how important the tight ends are right now. Elijah Higgins has a role in this team. They're in a lot of 2 tight end sets. But, James had a great season last year, but he's poised to have a better season this year. Like, it's a good group up front. I said it last year. Froholt belongs. Paris is in his right spot. They're lucky right now to have, a backup like Kelvin Beachum. Beachum's been around this league a long time. He's been a captain at SMU. He's been a captain in this league. Like, he is a polished veteran player. He can hold down the fort at right tackle. I just think that there's a good mix right now. They can run the football. They showed that last year, but there's a commitment to the run from Drew. And I think that's really important. And why wouldn't you? I mean, James is a great player and probably playing the most consistent football of his life these last 2 years.
We saw, I think, undoubtedly the best defensive performance maybe of the Jonathan Gannon era, giving up 10 points, albeit to Stafford and McVay, who were banged up, but it's still the quarterback head coach battery that you want to see if you're LA. And I think back to week 1 where they struggled in the second half. Where do you put the barometer on this defense now 2 weeks in? Because I think we would agree here on PHNX Cardinals, it's probably somewhere in between week 1 and week 2, but they are playing a lot of young players. They've got room to grow. They've got Darius Robinson eligible to return in just 2 weeks. People look at this team and they want to shoot the accolades to the offense, but the defense, can it overachieve, or will it inevitably be the team's Achilles heel?
I don't believe so. I mean, they had a good game plan. They played a diamond front. They played, Lopez and the 2 defensive tackles in there, and Kazir White, middle linebacker. And, they played their safeties back, which teams are doing. And they can because Baker is just so aggressive. I mean, he made every tackle in the first 10 plays of the game practically. Like, he's just, he strikes like a cobra. The corners are holding up right now. Now, they got a couple down the field, but you would expect that from Cooper and, Demarcus Robinson, whatever. They got a couple plays, but they kept him out of the end zone at the end of the game, end of the first half. And that was a great goal line stand right there. I think they understand maybe some of the limitations. They might not have some of the edge rushers, although Gardeck and Zavin and, the guys are doing just fine. Victor, they came off the edge, with a purpose. But I think they have a good scheme. I think you'll see a lot of that diamond scheme against Detroit to try and shut down the run. That's what teams are doing. They're loading up and just dirtying things up in the middle, making it tough to find creases. But if you're gap sound, doing the way they were and the way you are under a Jonathan Gannon defense, Nick Rails defense, like your gap sound, you're going to squeeze the running. Kyron Williams led the National Football League in rushing yards per game, and they shut him down on Sunday. So, this group coming to town, they got shut down by Tampa last week. I'm sure everybody in Arizona and studying the game tape of what Tampa did, Tampa defended the passes as well as you can. Jared Goff had 18 incompletions in that game. They played great pass defense, and they shut, for the most part, Montgomery and Gibbs down. Gibbs had a few, got a couple splits, but for the most part, they contained a very powerful rushing attack with a really good offense line. It shows you, if you're gap sound, the things that you can do. And I think, regardless what the names on the back of these jerseys are, they're capable of doing that.
Let's stay with that edge rushing group, because it was a group that came out of the gate strong last season like it did this season. 7 sacks, 5 from that group over on Sunday, 3 from Dennis Gardeck, 1 from Zaven Collins. What maybe would give Cardinals fans confidence that, they're going against the ravaged Rams offensive line? You got Penei Sewell in that really stout offensive line coming to town from Detroit, that they can consistently provide performances where they're getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks.
Well, if Gardeck is able to just run, I mean, they had an overload stunt, and Gardeck, shot the A gap from the outside linebacker spot. If he can flash stunt like that, and they got a contained rush on the outside coming the other way, I mean, I don't care what the name of the back of the jersey is. That's hard to stop. I mean, that's a good stunt, and they executed it well. He hit that thing the way you got to hit it, and I mean, really, You look at the Rams. I don't care who's in there right now. That's a hard thing to stop. So they can scheme some things. I thought that, Tampa doesn't have a lot of name guys, but I thought they pressured Jared Goff really good, and they weren't afraid to play Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and their tight end. They weren't afraid to play man coverage when they did blitz. And so, I think they could learn a lot from that game and how Tampa played them. They kept them to 16 points. That's a loaded offense. They kept to 16 points, but they affected the quarterback, and that's the key. Jared Goff did not have a great day. And that was without Antoine Winfield Jr., who's their best defensive player. So, I think they can take a page from what Tampa did. They don't play the same style as what Todd Bowles does, but it's not like they're coming in there invincible. They are very good. Panay and, this Kevin Zeitler is a great right guard, and Ragnow's a Pro Bowler. We know the names, but, you play sound defense and you play sticky coverage, you make it tough for the quarterback.
You talked a little bit about this off there, Baldy. We'll get you out of here on this. The Arizona Cardinals, at what point are we as a fan base, we as a media community able to say, hey, this team's for real, right? I know we're 2 weeks into the NFL season. Kyler Murray may be playing the best football of his career. You got some blossoming young players. Jonathan Gannon notches a big win over Sean McVay. And then you think about 2 weeks ago, the effort against Buffalo that I think we can really buy into now after week 2. Like, at what point can you say, like, this is a team that should factor in to a postseason berth if they keep this up throughout the course of, the NFC, playoff landscape?
Well, I think we said on every episode last year that this team plays hard. They play for the coach. What everybody wants to think about Jonathan Gannon, they play hard for him. They haven't ever played as hard in Philadelphia as they did for Gannon since he left. That's just a fact. They play hard for him. However he does it. I know a couple of his tricks, but they're playing hard. That's number one. But that was last year. Now that hard work, the commitment, the schemes, the game plans, like the only thing that gets you to believe in that is wins. And the best way to really believe in it is when you beat good teams. So if you take Buffalo to the brink, okay, it feels good, but it's not what they're about. That's over. Like, you got to beat good teams in this league. They got a 3-game homestand right now, and they're in the middle of it. And Detroit's a good team, really good team. It's a good roster. You beat the Detroit Lions, then you can start really thinking about, okay, we have what it takes in this room to play in January. Now, we've got to finish. We got to do a lot of things. But from a confidence standpoint, when you beat good teams, there's no better feeling. If you just watch the Atlanta Falcons go down and beat Philadelphia in the last drive, and you watch them go into the locker room with the celebration with Kirk Cousins in there, it's like they won the World Series. But that's what wins do against good teams. And you beat up on bad teams. There's a bunch of those in this league right now. But you beat a good team with a good roster, a team that's expected to play deep into January. Like, nothing will get you feeling better about yourself than that.
You can find on his Twitter account right now at Baldy NFL that Cobra Strike. He's talking about Budda Baker breakdown there. Also about Kyler Murray. Make sure it's a must follow. Our guy from the NFL Network, but he's our NFL analyst here at All City PHNX Cardinals. Brian Baldinger. Baldy, always great to catch up with you. Let's do it again next week.
Maybe it's after a win. That'd be something to talk about. That's for sure.
We all city like the mayor.